South Africa, I believe, is completely sold out to Islam.
They employ a lot of foreigners, and then they obviously make them Muslim.
So many mosques coming up, and the question is, where are they getting the money to build all of these mosques?
If you're a Christian, you need to get to church. South Africans need to sit up and start taking notice of this. Because when they talk about state capture, I don't even think people begin to realize how the South African state is captured or by whom.
Yeah.
This is the Political Show.
Hey, and welcome to the Political Show right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you know you can call me Gix, and with me in studio we have
Gavin Enslin.
Pastor Gavin Enslin and
The Black Knight.
the Black Knight right here on the Political Show, where Christ politics is
Hot politics.
hot politics. And this week's hot politics, we are looking at Muslims, we are looking at the Madlanga Committee, and we are looking at corruption in South Africa. What do all three have to do with one another? Pastor Gav, do you want to give a more brief explanation?
We've been watching the Madlanga Commission at in Pretoria, and there's a guy, Suleiman Karim, who has worked overtime using the Hajj, using Ramadan, and all of these things as tools to try and to get postponements in order that he doesn't ask questions, answer questions, sorry. And anyway, the commission now basically put their foot down, and he's been forced to answer the questions, but he's come in there with an army of like 6 lawyers. So how much money does this guy have? And then there's a serious questions coming out with his testimony, and what's now happened is that this whole situation with Morgan Maumela has actually come to a fore, and there's actually links between Suleiman Karim, Kat Matlala, and Morgan Maumela. Morgan Maumela is the guy involved with the Kempton Park Hospital, from which I can't remember gigs if it was 2 billion or 20 billion has been stolen. Okay, I mean, think about those numbers, 2 or 20 billion. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, all right. And this guy's in the thick of it. He's paying money over to Morgan Maumela, and then he's got a story now. Kat Matlala owed him money because he lent him money to top things up. And Kat Matlala said, some of this money that I'm paying you back for the money that I owe you, please pay this to Morgan Maumela. And then he paid it because he was scared. And a whole lot of stories are going on. But the Suleiman Karim is a Muslim. And I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room. His lawyers are Muslims. The lawyers were extremely disrespectful to Justice Madlanga and the other 2 commissioners. And they were put in their place. But I mean, this guy comes in with an army of 6 lawyers. And what I'd like us to discuss is the extent to which the corruption of government officials, in particular of the Marxist parties, are being controlled by Muslims. And we're going to be talking today about the Islamic connection to corruption in South Africa.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting show. As always, right here on the Political Show, where Christ politics is
Hot politics.
hot politics. So we're basically looking at the Muslim but the hold in terms of the corruption happening in South Africa. And more specifically, we were watching a video from Bonsai Shongwe. That is who he is. We're watching a video from him.
Bonsai Shongwe was actually promoting the anti-CRL march, the South African Church Defenders March that took place in Durban.
Yeah.
On Wednesday the 12th, this past Wednesday. He was actually promoting the march.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
I love Bonsai Shongwe. Bonsai Shongwe, he's my man. I know Black Knight's going to argue with me because Black Knight's a Marxist, but anyway.
So in this video, his clear summary of what he was speaking about is that after 74 days, the Madlanga Commission had begun focusing on Morgan Maumela. He is a figure allegedly linked to corruption involving President Cyril Ramaphosa, Suleiman Karim, and Kat Matlala. During Karim's testimony, his legal team initially tried to delay proceeds, like Pastor Gavin mentioned, leading to a tense exchange with the commission chair before an apology was issued and testimony continued. And he basically described a confusing financial agreement involving payments between himself, Kat Matlala, and Maumela. And according to his testimony, Kat Matlala instructed Karim to pay Maumela using money that Matlala would first pay to Karim instead of paying Maumela directly. That already sounds very complicated. And then Karim said that he questioned the unusual structure, but both men insisted on using him as intermediary. And then WhatsApp screenshots and payments records show Matlala repeatedly sending Karim's messages and payment updates to Maumela, suggesting the two were closely coordinating. Karim also faces pressure and promises of future payments, including claims that 13 million more would be paid later. So in the specific video that we watched from that Bonze Shongwe played, the commission highlighted how the situations appeared suspicious. Maumela already knew he would be paid, yet payments were routed indirectly through Karim. The relationship between Kat Matlala and Maumela.
Sorry, the payments were routed indirectly through Karim.
Yes.
So Matlala pays
Maumela.
Well, in effect, pays him 500,000 of the whatever that he owns.
Yes.
That he owes him, and then out of this 500,000 that he gets net, he pays 250,000 over to Maumela.
Yes.
And that's the only money ever paid to Maumela.
Yep. Yeah. So
right.
Karim basically, in terms of that,
something else. Can I just interrupt?
Yeah.
Maumela is the guy that we were talking about some months back, where Cyril Ramaphosa doesn't know him.
Yep.
All right. He just happened to be going past the house on his Saturday walk. But meantime, he's married to someone, his first wife's family.
That's, yeah.
So it's that Maumela.
That same Maumela.
Now we've got Suleiman Karim.
Yep.
And Maumela. And there's a connection there.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention this up front.
Yeah. So basically, Karim admitted that he eventually paid Maumela amounts such as 500,000 and 250,000 rand, even though he suspected something was wrong. He testified that fear played a role, saying he had read media reports about alleged criminal networks and worried about his safety and that of his family. And then the commission also highlighted that the relationship between Kat Matlala and Maumela seemed closer than they openly admitted, and messages and screenshots revealed constant communication and coordination between them. And in this video, Bonze Shongwe basically suggests 3 ways for citizens to understand the corruption networks, which is follow the interest. So who benefits from, these things? Follow the money, so the payment trails. Here we've got a payment trail going from between Kat Matlala, Maumela, and Suleiman Karim. And then follow the advisors, the lawyers, financial advisors, and networks around these people, and you'll understand how corruption works here in this country. Pascal, do you want to give a more brief, not a brief explanation, but your thoughts on this whole situation?
Okay. What happened was, in this testimony that took place, with Karim, Suleiman Karim, the reality is that the accusations that General Mkonazi made have finally translated into the realm of the Kempton Park Hospital scandal. Not Kempton Park, Tembisa. Sorry, hospital scandal. And this has involved corruption that we know about to the extent of over 2 billion rand. And it's the Tembisa Tertiary Hospital, and Tembisa lies between Johannesburg and Pretoria. So there's money, state money, that's intended for healthcare services, that's intended for maintenance on the hospital and all sorts of stuff, that's intended for the public care of patients, of people that are underprivileged, that are, don't have access to medical aid, that don't have access to private medical care.
Yeah.
And all of this money was siphoned off through procurement fraud, through maladministration and criminal syndicates. And this is what we found out between 2020 and 2023. So 2 billion they found between 2020 and 2023.
Mm-hmm.
But the roots of this go earlier.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the reason it came out, because a lady named Babita Dekoran, who was a senior official with the Gauteng Department of Health's Anti-Corruption Unit, flagged irregular contracts worth around 850 million that were awarded to questionable companies. And these included suppliers like Vusi Musi, Cat Matlala. Babita Dekoran got assassinated in August 2021. She was taken out in a hit, and apparently her daughter was there and witnessed the hit. And apparently this was in retaliation for her whistleblowing. Today, 2026, this is August 2021. Today, here we're sitting in March 2026. This murder is under investigation.
Still.
It's still under investigation. And the Special Investigating Unit, launched a probe, and Cyril Ramaphosa proclaimed this probe. They released an interim report in September 2025. And the interim report stated that, they looked at 2,200 procurement bundles, 4,500 purchase orders, 3 major coordinated syndicates, plus, others misappropriating funds. And the largest syndicate is allegedly linked to businessman Hlangwani Morgan Mamela, also referred to as Morgan Mamela. And he's accused of channeling 816 to 820 million. The SIU, which is the Special Investigating Unit, identified fraud involving over 200 service providers. They identified bid rigging, for tenders, collusion, money laundering, and kickbacks to officials. And at least 15 current and former officials from the Gauteng Department of Health and Tembiso Hospital allegedly received 122 million in corrupt payments. Assets traced to Mamela's network include luxury properties, vehicles, a 52 million Pangani Harari Lamborghini, and holdings valued at hundreds of millions, and Cat Matlala linked to companies such as Black AK Trading, and various junior officials enabled schemes by bypassing procurement rules and awarding contracts directly or colluding with providers. So, this theft led to shortages of medicines and all sorts of things at the Tembiso Hospital. People died. So we have South Africans who lost family members in that hospital because they could not be treated because people were stealing the money. So Mamela has faced raids on properties, asset seizures, and all sorts of stuff, and including in the Northwest Province. And now what has come to light is that Suleiman Karim, Kat Matlala, and Mamela are all involved. Who's gone to jail? This is an absolute disgrace. And as far as I'm concerned, this crime has not been solved because they don't want to solve it. And when you look at it, this is the first time that this has really, gotten such national recognition. And what I want to say, obviously Suleiman Karim and all his lawyers are Muslims. Kat Matlala, when he was interviewed by the parliamentary committee in prison, is a Muslim. And one of the things that's coming out clear here, when you start talking about the real big money when it comes to corruption in South Africa, is that Muslims are involved, and yet the CRL Commission wants to clamp down on the church. And now I'm looking at this. I was actually in a meeting on Saturday where one of the members of the Section 22 committee was talking about the corruption of Prophet Bushiri, and he was saying that Prophet Bushiri managed to leave the country because of the money he gained through the church, was able to influence senior SAPS officials. I don't agree with that, man, because at the end of the day, that man got out of the country, I believe, with the aid of the presidency and with the aid of the Minister of Home Affairs and the Minister of the Department of International Relations. They call it DIRCA. Prophet Bushiri was out on bail, and the president of Malawi flew to South Africa, met with Ramaphosa. A day later, flies back to Malawi with 2 extra people on the flight than what came. And there's no ways that would have been able to happen without very senior collusion from multiple departments in the government.
Yeah.
South Africa, I believe, is completely sold out to Islam. And I'm calling that out now. I believe it's completely sold out. And I believe that Karim Suleiman, or Suleiman Karim, has the money to be able to pay an army of 6 lawyers. Lawyers that argue in the High Court. Multiple lawyers that argue in the High Court. Where does he get the money from to do that? And South Africans need to sit up and start taking notice of this. Because when they talk about state capture, I don't even think people begin to realize how the South African state is captured or by whom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've been quite straight here today, so you guys better fix this program right.
Black Knight, what are your thoughts?
When watching this, what I thought of, General Ntantlam Khwanazi was talking about this whole time. And I think now we're starting to see the connections on how this whole thing came about to the political or the PK. That's
Political Killing Stars team.
Yes, that's how it came about to affect them.
Sorry, but Senzon Klunu says it's the NPKTT or whatever. The National Political Police. So he was trying to claim that task team shouldn't be under the KZN. The KZN Provincial Commission.
Yeah, because that's where they.
So it should be under the National Commissioner.
So I'm seeing the connection now, because when we're diving into this, we see how this involves the 360 deal, the 360 million deal that Ket Matlala had to get from SAPS. And obviously Karim also gave in 10 million. No, he did agree to that he lost 8 million.
But it was just a loan.
He wanted his money back.
Yeah, but he gave 10 million and Ket was going to give him back 10 million plus another 10. So he was going to get 100% interest, which is illegal under Islam.
So you see how that connects to this whole shenanigans, because on this 360 deal, you actually see that the 3 main people were actually the ones that I mentioned: Ket, Morgan, and Karim himself. They're the ones that were going to benefit from this. And for me, that's how I see the whole connection to what Ntantlam Khwanazi was talking about, or General Ntantlam Khwanazi was talking about, on why the political task team targeted, because also Salim was also coming as a front to Vusi Matlala, according to his version, that he promised him political influence at first, knowing that he doesn't have. That's what he was saying. But definitely he's an ANC activist. So definitely he has.
Are you talking about Karim?
Karim, yes. So definitely
doesn't he hold serious office in the ANC?
Yes, in the Western Cape also. A regional.
Northwest.
Oh, sorry, Northwest.
Northwest.
Yes, a regional finance or something, treasurer or something like that. So
I think he took a lot of the ANC treasure.
Yeah. I think that's where you see the whole connection that Ntantlam Khwanazi was actually talking about. I think now we're actually going to get to the real reason why this whole thing was disbanded. This PK team was disbanded. I think now we're actually going to get to the whole crust of it, because now it's actually kind of making sense. Oh, is this where the 360 thing, is this where everything went wrong? And I think obviously with the Babita thing, what Vusi was not thinking it's going to go that far, because the tax team, I think, was already handling that case. And then obviously had the whole saga with his girlfriend. I think that girlfriend thing messed up Ket's business. The whole thing was probably going to pull longer. Yeah, but since he attempted the thing on his girlfriend, the spotlight was on him.
And the thing with the attempted murder of the girlfriend.
Yes, that's the one I'm speaking about. Yes, that's put a big spotlight.
That's other police. So the reality is with Ntantlam Khwanazi, I don't trust him either. I've said that before. and I maintain that. I don't trust him either. I don't think he's clean.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just my thoughts.
I just think of in terms of the drugs, and I think he's fighting for a good cause in KZN. I think that he's doing, because looking at if we look at, especially with, I don't know if you can use stereotype, but here in South Africa, most people, either than Nigerians who are known for selling drugs, but I commonly known also like Indian people are big in selling drugs also. Like so I think in Durban they're facing that problem of drugs and the whole syndicate
where's Mkonazi fighting drugs? You see that Faisal Adams
fighting the crime.
Faisal Adams was in Parliament yesterday and last week as well. You know, with the ad hoc committee, talking about a case in KZN where 100 million rands worth of mandrax was picked up along with illegal firearms. And he said the docket that was opened, he's got information that apparently the case now only mentions the illegal firearms. It doesn't mention the mandrax. And his claim was that he believes that mandrax has probably ended up being sold on the Cape Flats. Now, you know, Faisal Adams is also a Muslim. So he also got these documents magically slipped under the door at his office in a brown envelope with top secret documents in them. You know, one of the questions he was asked by MK, and I'm not a fan of MK, was how come he never got the footage to see who slipped that thing under the door, because there is a camera.
Yeah.
And let's just put it this way, his answer wasn't convincing, but he puts a lot of shade on Mkonazi. So he said that he made the statement, Mkonazi made a lot of allegations for which he showed no proof, and I agree with it. So I don't think, you know, I think I still have the opinion there's like wars going on. It's like a war zone, and all these acts are guilty.
I think with that, I won't totally agree with it, because he did say when he started that I won't speak on other things to not try and
But
interfere with the others, because they know best in that type of work.
You know
So
what,
I won't
think-
Can I
speak
just say,
ballistics and stuff.
before
I
gigs-
just know operation with the cops and stuff, and that's what I'm speaking about. And hence why what I will bring up is that what the minister did is not correct. That's the only thing I'm bringing up, that what the minister did, he didn't follow procedure. And then there's these other things that will also add up to what I'm saying, but I'm not eligible to speak about that, so I'll bring up other people who are willing to speak about
I'll say
it.
two things here. And then
That's what I think.
I need to let Gigs speak. Sorry, Gigs, I'm interrupting. Okay. Two things. The first is Honorable Mr. Adams said that Mkonazi said that General Kamalu, the head of crime intelligence, you know, who's in a trial at the moment, that he would bring the evidence forward, which he hasn't. In terms of that point, that's problem number one. And then number two, you know, looking at this whole thing in terms of the Minister of Police, I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying whether he did the right or the wrong thing. Okay, there's a lot of gaping holes. You know, if you're a dentist, you'd find a lot of holes in Mr. Mkunu's teeth. Let's just put it that way. All right. I'm just saying, you know, I don't think Mkonazi is clean either, and I don't know that they were doing such a great job. When I look at the amounts of money that was being given to the PKTT, and I look at how many dockets were on their you know, on their caseload, and I look at how many prosecutions they've gotten right, I don't think they've done well. I think it's a terrible waste of money. And when I look at how many dockets ordinary police folk here in our local Boyston's police station have got, those guys are getting a lot of money for very few dockets.
I basically think like that this whole situation is South Africa's version of the Epstein files. And the reason I say that is because I think like the whole topic that we're speaking about, there are people that we don't see, that are not being mentioned, that are running this whole thing. In terms of the political killings, in terms of the corruption that is going on, all of these things that are coming and being brought to light, in what's this quotation marks, because we kind of knew that it was happening already. What's this? I kind of feel like everyone is involved somehow. Obviously, except the whistleblowers that are losing their lives and things like that. But somehow, somewhere, the people that are being brought to the spotlight and stuff are involved. And when we go look at the whole thing with the Muslims and them basically running things and stuff, and we've spoken about it so many times on the show, where we're seeing so many mosques coming up, and the question is, where are they getting the money to build all of these mosques? In our neighborhood alone, I keep seeing so like different mosques pop up and stuff. And if you look at their mosques, it's not just simple, buildings and things like that. There's actually quite a lot of work that is done on these mosques. And the question again is, where are they getting the money to build these mosques? So that's basically my thing. You can see how the Muslims are basically starting to gain control in certain aspects here in South Africa. I mean, we had the lady from Open Doors visit our church recently. She highlighted Mozambique, where there's the persecution happening in Mozambique, and she basically said that because of that, the persecution is here in South Africa, and we can see how it's already taking over in the political aspect, and may not look like persecution the way we see persecution, as in the killings and stuff like that. But when you look at the CRL commission, when you look at the corruption that's taking place, and when you look at all of these mosques being built and things like that, if you are a person who's been listening to the show, or you just have your eyes open, I don't want to say woke because we are not a woke people, but if you have your eyes open, you can see that there is a problem that is not being addressed, basically. Yeah. So, Pastor Gav, what are your last thoughts? And then Black Knight, what are your last thoughts?
If you're a Christian, you need to get to church. You need to build your church.
Yeah.
If you're a Christian in any field of society, you need to get stuck in, roll your sleeves up, and spread the message of Christ. If a hijacker gets saved, they stop hijacking. If someone is stealing money from a hospital where poor people need to get treated, if they get saved, they will stop stealing. The Bible says that, if you're a believer, do not steal, do not lie. Even the Apostle Paul said that. And so we've got to get out there, and we've got to make the difference that God called us to make in this country. And I really want to encourage you to do that. And please understand, the enemy is working in a fast and furious manner, taking your country. If you don't take control, he will. Yeah. And the enemy, sorry, I'm talking about the devil.
Yeah.
With the whole Muslim and the country and stuff, I know when I was researching on this, what ChatGPT was telling me that there's no such as...
Sorry, can I just stop you? It's so funny how we say we're researching and then ChatGPT.
Yeah.
No, I don't do research on ChatGPT, guys.
So
I was using Grok.
So I did DeepSeek, which gave me less information, and then I went on ChatGPT, which gave me a little bit of information. One thing I saw on this is that they may not be directly influencing our politics or our government, but definitely they are influencing our country via business.
Who, the Muslims?
The Muslims, yes.
Sorry, have you read the apartheid bill? Al Jamaa put it up, and it's supported by the ANC, EFF, MK.
Yes, but there's one thing I've seen.
It's apartheid bill, right? If you don't criticize Israel, or if you say anything in favor of Israel, it will be a crime.
Okay.
Al Jamaa raised that bill. So the Muslims are not influencing government. Okay, well, I'll call that influence anyway.
Oh, okay.
Carry on.
In terms of that, they don't really influence the government like that. But in terms of business and lobbying, their own stuff. So in terms of freeing Palestine, even now with the whole what is it, CIC thing, that whole taking Israel to court. ICJ, sorry, yes, that's taking Israel to court. So in things like that, that's how I believe that they influence the country. And in terms of the government, I think government-wise, they all running the whole Marxist ideology, because you
Yeah,
have
we
your
agree.
yes, you have your Chinas, you have your Russias, you have your Iran, and obviously Iran, and then you have and then obviously you have this whole thing with the BRICS. So I believe when it comes to the geopolitics, that's what they would focus on. But their main thing, which they don't obviously speak about, is the whole religious side, and that's what they are gunning for here in South Africa. Using business, we can see that they employ a lot of foreigners, and then they obviously make them Muslim after employing them. In fact, and they give you a Muslim name on top of that. So that's how I see them affecting the country, and sadly enough, that they're actually hitting where the country lacks, which is the economical side. And yeah, I think that's why they're gonna run most of their agendas, and they might, if the church doesn't stand up, they might pass. That's what I think.
Yeah. In Psalm 58, verse 1 to 11, it says, and I'm reading from the Passion Translation, God's justice, you high and mighty politicians know nothing about it. Which one of you have walked in justice towards others? Which one of you has treated everyone right and fair? No one. You only give justice in exchange for a bribe. For the right price, you let others get away with murder. Wicked wanderers, even from the womb, that's who you are. You lie with your words, and your teaching is poison. Like cobras closing their ears to the most expert of charmers, you strike out against all who are near. O God, break their fangs, shatter the teeth of these ravenous lions. Let them disappear like water falling on thirsty ground. Let all their weapons be useless. Let them be like snails dissolving into the slime. Let them be cut off, never seeing the light of day. God will sweep them away so fast, they will never know what hit them. The godly will celebrate in triumph of good over evil, and the lovers of God will trample the wickedness of the wicked under their feet. Then everyone will say, there is a God who judges the judges, and there is a great reward in loving God.
Yeah, and the thing is, what we're living for as believers is for eternity.
Yeah.
And when you have evil rulers, then you're going to have a problem. And one of the things that I've been warning for a long time, as a Christian, if you vote for a party that supports for example, something like abortion, please do not expect them to be righteous. They're not going to be a righteous government. If you look at the biggest complaints that God had against peoples that existed in the time of the ancient Israelites recorded in the Bible, they were worshipping the gods of Molech and Baal. And part of the worship of these gods was child sacrifice, which is what abortion is. And if you start offering your children up like this, your society is at one of the lowest points it could be at. When a society does not protect its children, it's at a really low point. And so any political party that supports abortion, let me tell you, you cannot trust them. And so we're seeing the fruit of an electorate which is overwhelmingly Christian in South Africa, that has voted number one for the ANC, and for a long time the second highest party in South Africa has been the Democratic Alliance. Both of those parties support abortion. You cannot expect a righteous government when the government supports abortion. If the babies in the womb have no rights, trust me, no one has any rights. And if the right to life is not sacred, then no rights are worth anything in South Africa.
Amen. This has been an interesting show right here on the Political Show on Active FM, where radio has never been better. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you can call me Gix. And with me in studio we've had
Gavin Ensler.
Pastor Gavin Ensler and
The Black Knight.
The Black Knight, right here on the Political Show, where Christ politics is
Hot politics.
hot politics.